recording. And we'll see about going live on Facebook. Seems like it's going to work. Okay. So far, so good. Okay. Says it's being live streamed. That's helpful. Boy, last week it worked really well for us. Okay. I'm going to screen share. Let's see. Okay. I looked through some of my old shows and through the slideshows for them and decided to start with this one. Let's see. I don't know if we need to do that, but I end up doing it. So, okay, let's share. This is the lesson for the second episode when the name got changed to Raising Happy Kids from, let's see, what was the other one? Happy Kids Family Zoom Show or something like that. Let's see if it will do this for us so far. All right, it's moving along. Okay, welcome to Raising Happy Kids Zoom Show. Now it's Karen Ryce's Raising Happy Kids Zoom Show. This was episode 2, and it was under that name. The one rule to raising happy kids and the power of respect. Earlier this week, I was watching an online lesson. The instructor used the term magic wand, referring to what was being taught. I thought, that's what the one rule is. It's a magic wand for those who use it. It eliminates wondering how to solve problems with kids. Now you know how. You just have to do it. Have you ever heard that 2 heads are better than 1? With the one rule, all the heads of the people involved are part of coming up with the solution. Since all the people involved want a good outcome for themselves, and they know it has to be a solution that everyone else likes too, that is the rule. My experience has been that a mutually satisfying solution is going to be thought of. For many, many years, I've wanted to eliminate punishment as a way adults attempt to control kids. I realized that this would not happen as long as adults are concerned about kids behaving badly. Many years ago, I came up with the concept of respect as the foundation of parenting. I called it the power of respect. I lived it. Anyone who knew me then could tell you that in terms of being respectful to kids, I walked my talk. I knew that most people had a sense of what it meant to be respectful, though many adults were not used to being respectful to kids. However, when I was asked to define what I meant by respect, I found that difficult. I finally came up with treating someone the way that other person wants to be treated. I think that works, but with the one rule, everything is so much clearer. No complicated definitions, simple, straightforward. You may not know what the other person wants, but you know whether a solution feels good to you. You are responsible for agreeing to what feels good to you. They are responsible for agreeing to what feels good to them. And together, everyone involved is responsible for finding a solution that everyone agrees to. One of the biggest objections to using the one rule is that it's not going to work. People are not going to find agreement. I understand why you might think that. It is normal for people to not get along, to disagree, to get into conflicts or even fights. However, that has not been my experience. Sure, I had not thought of the one rule until a year or so ago, but I had lived the power of respect for many years, and I already told you my definition, completely in harmony with the one rule. Not only did I live it, using it with my children and the hundreds of children I worked with over about 22 years, but people I taught, even people who read my book, Parenting for the New Millennium, reported how satisfied they were with the results of using what they learned in my book. So the one rule provides concerned adults with a way to approve of the behavior of their kids without needing to punish them. They just come to mutual agreement and they agree to what feels good to them. Also, you can take the following what if approach. I learned this from a friend. What if you tried the one rule and it worked for you and helped you create harmony with your kids? What if that? During this 1-hour Zoom show, I focused on sharing tips and lessons on the one rule, being happy and really harmony and that might conflict between you and kids. Use the one rule. Using the one rule means you find agreement. That's the rule. The one rule equals agreement. Agreement equals harmony. You find an idea, a solution that everyone likes. You found agreement. You found harmony. I learned this strategy from 3-year-old children. I was teaching them a complex conflict resolution strategy, actually intended for adults, and they taught me this. So don't think you're in for a rough time. It's simple, it's easy, it's powerful and effective. It works if you use it. Learning how to resolve differences and the resulting conflicts in a humane and peaceful manner is what the one rule to raising happy kids is all about. Once you have made the one rule your habit, you can avoid getting into conflict in the first place. As long as there are no differences that might lead to conflict, there is no need to use the one rule. As soon as you realize that there are differences between what you want and what your kids want, that is the time to use the one rule. Find agreement before you move on, before you decide what to do or what not to do. You, the adult, are the example of the one rule in action. You make sure that you follow it and gently encourage your kids to use it also. The one rule shifts everyone's goals. The primary goal is now finding agreement, something that everyone likes and wants. No one has to settle for second best. Together, you find something that is satisfying and fulfilling to everyone involved. And it is only used when differences are leading to conflict. It is a path back to harmony. That's all. Why and how the one rule works. Apparently, our brain is hardwired to answer questions. When we are asked a question or when we ask ourselves a question, our brain immediately begins searching for an answer. The one rule is like asking our brain a question, so it immediately begins searching for an answer. The problem, trouble, or conflict is the source of the question. We ask two primary questions. How can we find agreement? And what is really important to me in this situation? It is simple. Until you're used to it, you might not think it's easy. Those small children learn it and adopt it quickly. This is how I raised my kids. Once I decided never to force them to do what they did not want to do. This was how I treated the kids I worked with. The following 3 agreements make using the one rule even easier, almost automatic. 1, we are each important. Demonstrate this by pointing to each person involved and saying, you are important and you are important. If you are involved, point to yourself and say, and I'm important. 2, we each deserve to feel good. 3, we are going to find a way for this to happen. When you use the one rule, you create a heart-to-heart bridge between you and your child. That way, you both feel loved at all times. Imagine the blissful power of this. I want to tie this current understanding of the one rule back to its origin. The work I did for the many years I raised my children, was head teacher in our Montessori school, taught a special education class in East Los Angeles, in an East Los Angeles middle school, and finally substituted in many schools in Las Vegas. To do this, I'm going to share a bit of what I wrote in my original book. I call it the book that started it all. That's because I did not have a mission until I'd written this book. I had been invited to create educational centers in India. I decided that before I could do this, I had to share what I felt I'd learned from working with the children at Children's House. One mother had already asked me to do this, to share what gave me a unique approach to dealing with kids. It turned into the book and a mission to share this with as many people as possible, so kids everywhere can grow up in harmonious situations. So here's a little from that book, Parenting for the New Millennium, Creating Friendly Families Through the Power of Respect. Chapter 5, Respect, the Cooperative Solution. Respectful interaction takes many forms. It comes through our mouths as kind, thoughtful words. It comes from our hands as helpful, loving actions. It forms our thought into cooperative understanding. Cooperation is respect in action. Respect is enough. It helps create respectful relationships. It helps change an unhappy family into a friendly, happy one. It helps change low self-esteem into high self-esteem. Respect helps create peaceful interaction. Treating ourselves with respect and cultivating an attitude of cooperation between various aspects of our personalities can help us develop inner peace. When people are treating each other with respect, they create a wonderful medium in which peace can flourish. People tend to be more relaxed when they are assured respectful treatment. People tend to enjoy life more when they are relaxed. People who are enjoying life tend to spread good energy and our blessings to all around them. Just think how immediately and how extensively a child's joy spreads. Respect breeds responsibility, not license. If we observe, we can discover that the more that children are given respect, trust, and cooperation, the more they show that they are worthy of it, and the more they offer their respect, trust, and cooperation to others. Respectful parenting helps children develop strong, positive self-esteem. Many professionals consider self-esteem to be the critical factor which determines, according to the late family therapist Virginia Satir, integrity, honesty, responsibility, compassion, love, all flow easily from the person whose self-esteem is high. Satir also says the feelings of self-worth are learned in the family. A child with good self-esteem can weather many failures in school or among his peers. A child with low self-esteem can experience many successes, yet feel a gnawing doubt about his own value. Since I've decided to share an example of the one rule in action, and today I want to show how closely the power of respect is tied in with the one rule. I'm using an example from my column book as the bridge for all of this. I had a newspaper column called The Power of Respect. People would ask me questions about being respectful to their kids. I would answer them in the newspaper. I gathered them into a book called the Column Book. I was just going to use the question as the jumping off place to get more into the one rule. But after I read the answer I gave in the newspaper, it seemed so aligned with how I might think as I'm using the one rule that I decided to leave it. We can talk about it later. Question. When my child goes off for a day or two to spend the night at his friends, He seems to come back home with a "don't bother me" attitude. He doesn't want to clean up his room or do any chores. He blames me for bugging him when he gets home. How can I integrate him back at home in a harmonious way? I also have divorced friends who have similar problems with their children after they've been with the other parent. Answer: your behavior can make it easier or harder for your son to integrate himself back into the routines and flow of family life. You can help him by being welcoming, understanding, and compassionate. Or you can hinder him by being impatient, demanding, or complaining, judgmental, or critical. In any case, he is the one who has to reintegrate into the home. You have to reintegrate yourself with him, taking him and his needs into account, which you have not had to do while he was gone. If he does not want to be bothered when he returns home, don't bother him. Let him choose his own time to begin to participate. Sometimes it's hard to shift behavior from one environment to another. People in each place have different expectations and responses. It may take him some time to change his behavior to fit into either place. You're just seeing one end of his process. Maybe the other place is more relaxed for him because he has no duties or responsibilities, and it takes time to adjust to a situation where more is asked of him. Maybe the other place is exhausting in its demands, and he can't really be himself there. He might just need time to relax and let down his guard before he can take on more responsibilities. If it is important that he do chores like clean his room when he gets home, maybe the two of you can work something out. Arrange to talk with him sometime when neither of you are feeling stressed. Share your concerns and needs with him and ask for his help to resolve this situation. Be sure you both understand each other. Here, as usual, the important thing is to discover ways of dealing with this that work for both of you. Possible respectful solutions. He does his chores before leaving for his friend's house. Someone else does his chores on the day he comes back. He does his chores the day he comes back, but no one reminds him, and he does them when he is ready. No one bothers him in any way after he comes home until he lets everyone know it's okay. He didn't realize his behavior was causing a problem and cheerfully agrees to do his chores as soon as he gets home. Those are all possibilities that came to me. Using the one rule would make working things out simple and easy. With the one rule, it's clear exactly what outcome you're both looking for, an outcome that you both feel good about and can agree to. Let's look at how one session between this mother and her son might go. I'll make up names for them. Hey, Jason, do you have a moment? I need some help to work something out. Sure, Mom. I've been wanting to use something called the one rule to help us figure out solutions to problems so we all get to feel good about the decisions. I'd like us to figure out what to do about how things are when you come back from spending time with Mark and his family. Oh, that. Yeah. The person who teaches about the one rule suggests that the first time we use it, I start with these three things. We are each important. You're important and I'm important. We each deserve to feel good. We are going to find a way for this to happen. Shall I tell you my problem and we can figure out what to do about it? I know your problem. You want me to do some chores. Well, that's part of it. Also, the way you treat me makes me feel bad. Just don't bug me about it. I know my chores. I'm just tired when I come back from Mark's. I've hardly gotten any sleep, and the first thing you start telling me is to do my chores. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. What about this idea? When you get home, we're just glad to have you back and you get to do your chores when it's good for you. That sounds good, but what if I don't get to them that day? Well, let's make sure you don't have any chores that need doing that day. That sounds great, Mom. Okay, that's the end of that lesson. Now, let's see. I'm wondering if we can. I'm going to stop the screen share. Okay, because last time I didn't, and that ended up being the end of the show. So let's see if this makes a difference. I'm going to find the next lesson that I was going to share here. And then I'll start a new screen share. Hopefully this will work. Okay. Screen share. Okay. Let's see if this works. All right. Today we are going to look at keeping the peace. This was from the first group of trainings, the Family Zoom show. Okay. Anyway, today we're going to look at keeping the peace. We already know that using the one rule is an excellent way to keep peace between people. Now we are primarily going to look at ways to create and maintain inner peace for you and any kids in your life. These days, I begin my day with thinking of three things I'm glad about. I have to tell you, this is not my practice anymore, but it's a good one. You could do this for yourself and with kids, even in a classroom. If you are doing this with others, like your kids or in a classroom, you can all share them if you wish. It also helps to smile while doing this exercise. Yeah, that is true. Smiling helps bring about smiling worthy situations and feelings inside. Feelings inside first. Then I think about three things I'm looking forward to, and then three things I'm willing to do to make today even better. I call this the 3 by 3 by 3. It might be enough to just think of three things you're glad about. I've meditated for about 50 years. Often, I did not achieve what I now call inner harmony, inner peace, or even bliss. But I meditated anyway for the sense of calm I got as a way of getting answers and for the inner adventures. Even though I was initiated into a couple of different forms of meditation that did not focus on the breath, from very early on, I found myself connecting to awareness of my breath. At the time, I did not know it was an official thing. At one point, I decided to learn to silence my mind, which I did. I did not know how critically important that is until recently, meaning during the past couple of years. During the past few years, I came across a form of meditation that has quieting your mind as its primary focus. Using this, I was able to get into a state of inner harmony, peace, and even bliss every time I meditated. It was so exciting. This is still true. This is true. Then I decided to share my meditations live on Facebook. During this time, I also shared the 3x3x3 and another practice I do after that. When I started to add another practice to this, I stopped sharing live. I was going to form a Facebook group or do a challenge. Those are both still possibilities. Anyway, I discovered that I was able to get into an even more powerful state of inner harmony doing the practices and not quieting my mind. It was puzzling. How could that be? What I mean by this is that hours later, I still feel inner harmony and an inner spaciousness. I can be inwardly silent instantly. I want to share the method for silencing your mind. I no longer remember how I did it originally, but apparently this works. I recommend you do this wherever you are, just as long as you can sit comfortably and you can focus only on what you're doing for 15 to 20 minutes. I used to meditate with my babies and toddlers around me on the bed. I think that's one reason I can get into inner harmony in just about any situation. That's why I recommend you starting wherever you are. Of course, if you prefer to be alone, do that. Sit comfortably with your spine straight. Find something you can focus on, like the sensation of your breath going in and out of your nostrils. My breath in my lungs was what naturally drew my attention. Then keep your attention on that. When you start to think, pull your attention back to your focus. Do this for about 15 to 20 minutes daily. Best if you can do it first thing in the morning. It was also suggested that you can focus on the sound of an air conditioner, a dripping faucet, an app with a constant sound, even focus on the flame of a candle. At some point, you'll notice that your mind is quiet. Keep your focus. This is the state where I feel inner harmony, peace, and even bliss. I might also receive answers to questions I asked in an earlier time, or other guidance and inspiration. After the silence, that's when I learn to trust the answer. That's when I trust the answers and the inspiration I receive after the silence. You can, of course, share this approach with kids. In our elementary school, the school day started with meditation. The kids liked it. However, the goal of inner harmony might be achieved in other ways too, when it comes to children or even adults. In the Montessori school, I think that focusing on an activity that satisfied the child at the moment had the same effect. This is true for adults also. Yes. In Montessori, what happened was called normalizing the child. Once a child had connected with a compelling, satisfying activity, they became different people. It seemed to make them the best versions of themselves, kind, helpful, focused, happy. This is one reason it is so important for kids to follow their interests. If interest is not engaged, there is some degree of resistance, which is the opposite of engagement. It is only in their interests that they discover normalizing activities, become fulfilled, and find that state of inner harmony. That's true with adults too. It is also important to have a practice that can help you get back to a state of inner harmony during your day. Like, I have my pattern interrupt. I have a phrase that I can repeat in my mind when I notice that I'm not feeling inner harmony. It brings me back to that state, or at least to a better feeling state. It interrupts the negative thought pattern I've started and gets me focused on something I like. By negative, I mean that I'm thinking thoughts that I do not want to happen. At some point, I realize that I'm feeling better. I'm thinking better thoughts, and I've stopped thinking my pattern interrupt. To create your own pattern interrupt, come up with a phrase or word or mantra that you like or feel drawn to. Whenever you feel like it, repeat it in your mind. This is just to create it as a practice. So when you do need it, it is already something you're used to. When you notice that you are not in a good mood, or you realize that you're thinking thoughts about what you do not want, these usually happen together. Thinking those kind of thoughts and feeling not good about it. Start repeating your pattern interrupt in your mind. Keep it up until you're feeling good again, or maybe you'll discover, as I do, that you're not repeating your pattern interrupt and you are feeling better and thinking positive thoughts again, or maybe just being aware of what you appreciate. Here is a practice that was very helpful with kids in our elementary school. Something like this could help at home too. When a child was having a hard time, either just feeling bad or causing trouble for others, they were invited to be in the center of a circle. Each person in the circle would say something they liked about the child in the center. This made all of the kids feel better. If you haven't done this already, now is a good time to eliminate punishment. Our goal is to keep the peace. Besides, punishment is totally unnecessary. Once I decided never to force my kids to do anything they did not want to do, we all got along better than ever. Besides, you have the one rule. You have the one rule. You can find agreements about anything. Now, the important thing is to choose a place to start or expand your practices. If you want to feel happier, you might start with thinking of 3 things you're glad about. You might do this with your kids. If you haven't quieted your mind, You can start by quieting your mind. If you can quiet it, but not whenever you wish, you can start there. If you have not introduced following their interests to your kids, you can start there with them. You might also start with sitting to quiet their minds if they want to. Be sure to explain the benefits briefly. I just learned something that relates to what I've shared. I tried it and it seems to work. It feels more powerful, so I'm going to share it here. After each thing you're glad about, add the word because, and then the reason you're glad about that. It is supposed to increase the positive effect in your life. Okay, that's the end of this one. Let's stop the share again. It's working. All right. Then the next thing I wanted to share on the theme of peace was, where is it? Okay. Is one of the Guardian stories. Let's do another screen share. Screen share. Okay. Okay. The Guardians were having their first online meeting after their fundraising event with the PTSA, the Parent Teacher Student Association. There were too many new Guardians to meet at Kathy and Timmy's. The Guardians, it's a series of stories. And if you become a member for only $1.99 a month, you can access all of the Guardian stories and any news stories and magazines and articles and trainings, everything that I've created over many years and continue to create. So anyway, on with the Guardian story. Besides, they were all very busy. After the event, Kathy started giving classes online and in person for kids and parents. She was even going to be giving them to teachers and other staff at Timmy's school. And now she was getting requests from parents and teachers in other locations, even other towns, other states, and another country. The Guardians were her support staff. They coached kids who wanted more practice than they got in Kathy's weekly classes. Guardian Mitch was the first one to speak up. I want some help. Could we focus getting along with brothers and sisters today? Sure, said Pam. Does that sound good to everyone? Everyone agreed. So what's up, Mitch? Asked Jeff. Well, it feels kind of strange and embarrassing, but it's my family. Ever since I joined the Guardians, I've been having trouble with my big brother and sister. What kind of trouble, Mitch? Asked Jen. My brother is always saying that now I think I'm such a big shot. They both call me superhero. They say, ooh, here comes the superhero. It hurts my feelings. Let's break into working partners and see what we come up with, said Pam. Pam had sort of become the leader of the Guardians. It worked for her and everyone else too. She easily and naturally took the leader's position. Everyone was glad she did this. Having someone do this helped things go smoothly. Each team went into a private online space where they could figure out their demo. When they were done, they went back to the main online meeting space. After they were all back in the main meeting area, Pam asked, "Who would like to go first?" "We would," said Jeff and Elaine together. Of course, they are brother and sister. "Okay," said Jeff. "I'm the narrator, so I'll explain what we did, then we'll do the demonstration. We decided that Elaine would be the one whose feelings got hurt. Okay, here's our demo. It really hurts my feelings when you call me a superhero. I wish you wouldn't do that." "You are a superhero, aren't you? I mean, now that you're a guardian, doesn't that make you a superhero?" "No, I'm just a helper. And the way you say it is what hurts my feelings. It makes me feel like you think it's a bad thing for me to do." "Does it matter what I think?" "I guess it does." "Well, I really do think you are a superhero. I was really surprised when I heard that you were a guardian. Maybe it's the way Mom told me about you joining. She said she thought I should join. I should do that too. And why didn't I join?" "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that. You could join if you want to." "I don't want to. That's the problem. It makes me feel like I'm not good enough because I don't want to help like you do." "I'm sorry about that. I've learned during our coaching sessions that it's important to do what we want to do no matter what other people think. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you too for being in the Guardians. I just don't want to." "Then it's good you're not. You might like to join in the coaching for kids that don't want to be in the Guardians." "What's that about?" "Well, we've learned something called the one rule. It helps us solve problems fast so that everyone feels good." "Like we just did?" "Exactly like we just did." "I think I'll check it out. Is it hard to learn?" "No, it's super easy. Do you want to do this on your own or would you like a guardian to help you?" "I'll take the guardian's help. I still want to call you a superhero." "That's okay now. It will make me feel good now. I just thought maybe we do have a superpower. I think the one rule is our superpower. Now you'll have that superpower too." "That's our demo," said Jeff. "Great," said Pam. "Next?" "I'll go next," said Lacey. "The rest of you are in the family meeting, so I figured out one on my own." "Okay," said Pam. "This is the first thing I thought when I heard your situation, Mitch. This is just going to be me playing you and working things out in myself. I made some notes so I don't forget. I wish I didn't get so upset when my brother and sister tease me. I wonder why it hurts my feelings. I just remembered something. It was something new we learned at our last session with Kathy. What was it? How did it go? Oh, yeah. It's not up to other people to make my life better. It's up to me. If I want to have things go better, I need to have better self-talk. Instead of getting upset when they call me a superhero, I could ignore them, or I could say thanks. I could actually feel good that they call me a superhero. I kind of am. I help kids every day. I help kids stay safe. And with the one rule, I help them feel good about themselves and their life. Oh, yeah. Kathy also said for us to think mostly about things that make us feel good when we think them. I'm going to do that starting now. And when anyone says I'm a superhero, I'm going to feel glad and maybe even thank them. That's my demo, said Lacey. Awesome, Lacey, said Pam. Now we'll do the family meeting demo. I'm the mom, John is the dad, Jen, Ken, and Timmy are the kids. So, what's this family meeting thing about? Asked Dad. It's something I learned about in the Guardians. Guardians, guardians, guardians. Stop it, kids, shouted Mom. Go on, Mitch. Well, that's what this meeting is about. I'm tired of being teased for being in the Guardians. Guard, stop that. So, what do you want to do about this? Asked Dad. I want to have a one rule session, all of us. What's a one rule session? Asked Mom. This is what I do with kids every day. I help them find a solution that they all like. Then they agree on that solution. So, what solution would you like? I'd like them to stop teasing me. Now what? We decide if we all like that solution. If we agree that that is a solution that we all like, then we agree that that is the solution we want, and then we're done. This is dumb. That's enough of that. What solution would you like then? I just want to keep teasing you, superhero big shot. You're going to be in big trouble after we're done here. You always take his side. I'm always the one to get in trouble. He never gets in trouble. It's what you do that gets you in trouble, young man. Don't go blaming your brother. Let's at least see if we can find a solution that we can all agree on. The kids at school do it every day. I guess I should have started by telling you what Coach Kathy told us about the one rule. We are each important. Then I point to each of you and say, you are important, and you are important, and you are important, and you are important, and I am important. I would have started with I'm important, said his brother. That's a good way to start too. Then she says that we each deserve to feel good. And now we're going to figure out a way for this to happen. Then we do. We find something that everyone likes. That's how we all get to feel good. So far, we've had 2 ideas, but not everyone likes the ideas. I'd stop teasing you if Dad would take me, only me, when he goes fishing. That sounds like a good idea, son. Wait, I want something special if I'm going to stop teasing too. I want to help you, Mom. Figure out the menus for the week, and I want to help with the shopping and fixing the food. What about cleaning up and doing the dishes? You want to help with that too? Sure. Well, let's give it a try. So you're going fishing with Dad, and you're going to help Mom with the food, and you're both going to stop teasing me about anything, right? Right, right. Mom, Dad, does all this sound good to you too? Yes, son. You've done a great job here tonight. Yes, you really are the guardian of our family. It seems like things are going to be better than ever. That's our demo, said Pam. Thanks, guys, said Mitch. You've given me great things to think about. You've really done a great job here today, said Coach Kathy. I took lots of notes. I'll do a quick review. In the last demo, you saw an example of working with your whole family and using the one rule. Now you might understand more of why your brother and sister were teasing you. Maybe they both do want special attention from your parents. You saw how important it is to tell everyone in the beginning that they are each important and point to each one saying, you're important, and they each deserve to feel good, and that you are going to find out how to do that. After that was done, everything shifted and the family found a solution fast. So working with your whole family is an option. Or you could just figure it out in your own mind like Lacey did. That's just as useful. Finding and maintaining your own feel-good space inside. Thinking the thoughts that help you do that. Maybe you could take a look at her notes if that would help you. Or you could talk with your brother, like the demo with Jeff and Elaine. There might be something you can work out with him that could solve the whole situation. So, Mitch, how do you feel now? I don't feel so lost, and I sure don't feel embarrassed, said Mitch. I know there are many ways I could solve this. I feel more hopeful. You know, that if you need one of us to help you, just ask, said Pam. Thanks, all of you, said Mitch. You've been a lot of help. I'm sure that by our next meeting, this will be fixed. Sounds good, Mitch, said Pam. Is that it, Kathy? Does anyone have anything else? I'm done, said Kathy. I just want to say you all did a great job. You are great guardians. I'm proud to have you on my team. We'll meet again next week, said Pam. Have a great week, guardians and Coach Kathy. Okay. I'm going to stop the screen share. I think it's time. All right. So in the middle of this, I mentioned joining the membership. You can get all the Guardian stories, all the magazines, all the trainings that I've ever created are available. Anyway, if you are interested, you can go to www.happykidsco.org, which is the new website, org. Okay, I hope you all have a great week and have lots of peace and harmony and good times, lots of enjoyment in your life. Have a good week. Bye.